This week's Coronation Street, it was a really, really mixed bag. It kind of made me angry at points. It made me a bit bored at some points. It made me really, really happy and smile at some points as well. But I don't know how I'm going to be rating it at the end. It's probably going to be somewhere down the middle. We're going to start off. Here's a storyline title, and intonate this how you will. Toyah, Nick's Leanne's boyfriend. Yeah?
Toyah.
Yeah.
Nick is Leanne's boyfriend.
Or
Toyah Nick's Leanne's boyfriend.
It's got two meanings. It's clever.
But it doesn't mean anything if you just say it's Toyah. Nick's...
Doesn't matter, right? So Toyah, Nick's Leanne's boyfriend. We had a bit more Poor Paulie Paul on Monday and Wednesday this week. Hell bent on stopping Brent is my Kevin and Abby story.
What happened there, man?
Just weirdness. No can do. Ken and Cassie. I kind of enjoyed that this week still.
Yeah.
Boiler pressure. What's going on at number 5? They're going to get evicted at last. And then we had a little bit more of the Joel story as well. It was the Toyah and Leanne and Nick story that kind of made me a bit mad on Monday, didn't it? I didn't really enjoy that. But no, it wasn't Monday. Sorry, Tuesday. We didn't have it on Monday.
Yeah, we're going to say the wrong thing.
We're going to say the wrong days.
Today, this week's was what? Tuesday, Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah. Who wants it? We didn't even just.
You want to do it?
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
This is what happened for these guys this week. So it's Rose's funeral on Tuesday morning, and Toy's feeling a bit down about it, and she's still very cold towards Leanne, who's not been the best of sisters recently. She gets her own back on her later though, doesn't she, our Toyah? Leanne says, "Oh look, just a last minute changes to the funeral. I've arranged for an upgrade. I'm paying for it."
She said it's probably the wrong word to use. She
used Shuttleworth speak.
This was very tragic and sad. When George comes out with the tiny coffin, carrying it in his arms, it was just heartbreaking. Yeah,
it was. It really was. And then there's the little rose. What's it called? It's not a wreath. A rose. It reads around. What is it when you just have the name in letters? Floral display.
Tribute.
Yeah. But I was kind of...
Where was the upgrade? Was that the upgrade?
No, the upgrade... No, I don't know what it was, really. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah. I was just a bit disappointed that we didn't get to see the funeral because I was ready to be sad, and obviously all of the actors who I'm really, really rating with everything in this story at the moment would have done superbly. They clearly didn't want to go down the route too much of the funeral. So
they've already milked this.
I think they've milked it about as far as it can go. I know, this whole retconny thing.
I'm not going to say, they didn't want to... They thought it would be bad taste to have a funeral. I don't know if that's what you're trying to insinuate.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that, the funeral didn't... Showing the funeral wouldn't necessarily have advanced the plot, and that's what they wanted this story to do.
But that's Corinne in a nutshell, isn't it, at the moment? Nothing that doesn't advance the plot, which is not always a good idea.
I think by the time, we were halfway through this episode, they almost wanted us to forget that the funeral had happened, because what Toyah and Nick got up to when they were left alone in the flat, one might think, is that really kind of appropriate or usual behaviour for what happens on the...
You might be surprised.
What? Oh, I suppose it was, I can't remember whether they were... No, there used to be characters in Coronation Street that always got randy during a wedding, didn't they? Tim and Sally, yeah. I thought that maybe Les did as well with Scylla. I can't remember. But
some people react in different ways. I'm not going to judge them for that. It's who they're doing it with. That's the problem.
That's what I'm going to judge them about. You do not escape my wrath there, Toyah and Nick. I would...
Well...
I wish they'd shown it, but they didn't want to.
They didn't want to.
But they did show Rowan turning up on the street to try and pay his respects, allegedly. But Toyah kind of gets mad and sees him off. She's like, I can't believe you would turn up here on the day of my kid's funeral. Is that done? Is there any more to be spun out of this retcon now, do you think? Because Toyah having... given birth to this baby 20 years ago, having it secretly buried in the park, Leanne knowing about it, telling Rowan, that had...
Well, no, it wasn't quite over until the police said this week.
That's what I'm saying. Now it's over, but it feels like this, if they were going to rip up the past as much as they have done with this. And it's not, as I said before, not bothered me as much, but I know it has a lot of other people. And now there's no stakes with it, it's happened. It might get referenced again if Toya's looking a bit blue, but do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
They probably could have and maybe should have spun this out anymore, but I don't know.
You spun it out more?
I don't know. I was just
doing it at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't have done it. But if the fact that they did do it means that they should have tried to get more than 5 episodes where Baby Rose is even mentioned out of it.
I'm not even going to talk about it anymore.
Too controversial a topic even for you.
Well, no, I've said everything I can possibly think of to say about it.
Now let's all forget that it's happened. So they go off. Rowan goes off, and then Toyah and Nick and Leanne go to the funeral. We don't see it. They come back to the flat there, and Leanne's saying, "Oh, Toyah, it was such a beautiful service." And Toya's like, "Look, I'm fuming that Rowan turned up here. You didn't even try and tell him to bugger off when he turned up. He's your mate. You should have told him to sling his hook." She says that he's a coercive, abusive bully. Why can't you flip and well see this? And Leanne's like, "You're not going to like this, Toyah, but today wouldn't have even been what it was without Rowan." And Toyah immediately twigs that he must have paid for this alleged upgrade to the funeral. And Leanne says, "Look, he only did it because he knows that I love you, and he wanted me to. He wanted you to have what you wanted." And Toyah cannot believe this. Leanne's trying to explain, but she's like, "Now, whenever I sit at Rose's grave, he is all I'm gonna see. This is it. This is you and me done forever." So a nice soapy ultimatum there. How did you find Toya's reaction to this? Do you think she was justified to be fuming? And did Leanne having her heart in the right place count for anything?
Why did Leanne tell her? I just find it crazy. I think
she told her because she maybe in some weird way she thought, maybe this will make Toyah think that Rowan's not such a bad stick after all.
Then why not admit it in the first place? It was all just a bit silly drama. Like, either tell her up front or don't tell her at all. But okay, you have to make drama out of everything. So fine, but I totally see where Toya's coming from here because, it's sullied by Rowan's presence. And really, what I wish they hadn't said upgrade or, what do you mean? What do you mean? I don't get what do you mean. I don't really want to know, but...
Well, they're always talking about, this is what Todd's trying to
flog
at the Shuttleworths, isn't it?
It's a baby's funeral, and what on earth is George doing with his profit margin? You know what I mean? Like, come on. Mm. He couldn't have given it to her for free or given her a free upgrade. Why do we have to get a cult involved? Do you know what I mean? The whole thing's just really distasteful. This whole storyline was such a mistake because it hasn't been... All the actors have been brilliant, but the all the surrounding stuff with this, it just feels like really exploitative. Because normally when Corrie does like baby loss stuff, it feels like it's kind of sending a message, or it's supporting women or uplifting mothers and kind of showing that they're not alone, But who can relate to this story? It's a very strange story, really. I've defended it in the past. The longer it goes on, though, the more I just feel like what a mistake.
I've said it's not bothered me, and I think I still stand by that. It's certainly not bothered me as much as it has some people, but I am kind of thinking there's going to be there are some people who are obviously would have been absolutely in floods of tears just from seeing that little mini coffin.
There are people that have seen these things in real life, and it's horrible, and it was all kind of a bit theoretical, wasn't it, before? Because we knew that Rose was buried somewhere, and we knew that Toyah had this experience, and we kind of went through it with her and talking about it. But then to see the coffin just kind of like made me think, oh, I don't know why we've done this. Because it's so horribly tragic and unthinkable that I don't see... I just think that it really, all it feels like was a way to get Nick and Toyah in bed with each other.
And there must have been a better way.
It's so
They could have just not gone that route.
It just feels really, and I don't like being po-faced and kind of, what's the
Pearl
word?
clutchy.
Yeah, I don't like doing it, but in this situation, as a motivation for an affair, I really feel as though it wasn't, but it's not personal to me, so I don't feel as though I've got much of a leg to stand on to complain either way about it.
Oh, no,
but just the sight of George with that tiny coffin just made me think, what is this? It's some things just feel a bit too far, and I don't think I'm never going to be the person who says a soap should not do a storyline about this, that, or the other thing, because I truly believe that there's almost nothing that a soap shouldn't cover because of how supportive it can be and how it can help people in real life. But there's got to be a really good reason. In my opinion, there's got to be a really good reason. If you're going to do a baby loss storyline, you've got to do it in a really sensitive way. And I think this is really borderline, and I hate saying it because, I like all the people involved. And I think that, George Taylor's done a fantastic job. I think you can't fault anybody in the acting side of it. And I wouldn't like it to be criticism of any of them, but I was just a big fat question mark. And also, Tony Maudsley as well. Everyone did a great job. It was just such a horrible. But I also think that was George's. I know this is going to sound, now I've just said all that, really insensitive, but that was George's, like, inverted commas, first really tragic funeral. Like, I don't know.
Well, every other funeral that they seem to run at Shuttleworth, someone seems to have some kind of comedy bent to it, doesn't it? But
it was a really poignant thing, and I think I'll give up.
No, I absolutely see where you're coming from.
I don't think anything's off limits, but I do think you need to think about what it is you're trying to achieve.
It does make me wonder whether the people at Corrie have gone, yeah, maybe we would, or whether they've listened to this feedback and made any and realised that, or whether they're still defending it.
You can defend it. Look, it's not down to me to tell anybody what they can and cannot do. And there are going to be people that watch it who have experienced. There are going to be people involved in the show that have experienced baby loss and still think it's something. And maybe taking the stigma out of it, this is how you do it. I don't know.
Back to the main drama of it, though. I would say that I think Leanne. I don't know why I'm defending Leanne in this so much. I think it's just because I'm feeling sorry for her, as she's genuinely is the victim of the machinations of Rowan and the rest of the Institute. But although, from an outsider's point of view, it's clear that no way should she have got Rowan to do this. She should have. She would have known that Toyah would have hated it. But I can totally see somebody in her position thinking, well, I want to do what's good for the sister. If she thinks that Rowan genuinely is 100% angelic and pure, then she would think, well, there's this money is coming from a good place, and maybe this will be what convinces Toyah that I've been right all along. And what more would Leanne want than that?
This whole storyline's a mess, though. Like, the money side of it is just a mess, because she still owes them 15 grand, yes or no?
I can't remember. I've lost track.
I'd rather have my bills cut,
I don't think this storyline is a mess. I think there are bits.
No, the money side. I said that.
Oh, this is the money side of it. Okay, right.
Toyah's money-ish situation is just bonkers, isn't it? What? Like, she lives with her sister and a boyfriend. She works part-time in a bistro. She's got qualifications. She got, like, what has happened to this woman? She got no savings. She's been sued. She can't even pay for her baby's funeral. That's, like, the most tragic thing. But we're not focusing on any of that. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. That alone, again, this is over-egging the pudding, again, from Corrie. That alone is enough to be a terrible storyline for anybody. I can't pay for my baby's funeral. That is all you need. You don't need, and I've got £15,000 of court fees, I've got to sign an NDA, I've also got to move out because I shagged my sister's boyfriend, and also she's in a cult. Like, what are we doing? Pick one. Just pick one.
I find it, as the years go on, harder and harder to have any investment in a storyline that's related to
money.
A character is poor.
Yep, it's stupid.
Which is why the Winty Brown story this week has utterly left me cold.
Who's
for the most part.
Who's going to buy the house? Oh, will it be Linda or will it be Dev?
Well, some people are saying that maybe Toya's going to move in there, but I'm not sure she's going to be able to afford to put the money on a deposit quite at the moment.
She can't. Yeah, I don't. I just want to say a shout out to Rebecca for putting on moderator Rebecca F on our Conversation Street group about the Dancing for the Devil Netflix documentary about cults, which I did watch almost all of, and it is very, very applicable to this situation. It's very interesting. And I don't know if people want to give out their full name, so that's why I say just...
So back to the show then. Back to the story. So Toya's told Leanne that she's cutting all ties with her, don't want anything to do with her anymore. So Nick speaks to Leanne later and says, "That was vicious what you did. I don't even know who you are anymore." And she says, I've just found the right way. And he's like, what are you saying? And this is when she's like, oh, I need to do an upload, and stops off. I'm still enjoying all of that kind of techno babble stuff, but it does slightly take you out of it. Do you think? Like, if there's a really serious dramatic scene and then Leanne says something like that, it's like, oh, that's just kind of funny, isn't it? But
it's just
anyway, off she goes to
tonally weird.
I'm still glad that they've kept it. It just doesn't always work. So Toyah meets up with Rowan in that special, definitely not the Coronation Street Experience cafe later, still fuming at him, and he says, well, it was just a gift. I just wanted to help you out on the day of your daughter's funeral. And she says, well, sorry, you just screwed yourself up here, because no way am I signing this NDA that you want me to do, that you want me to sign my name to. What else have I got left to lose now? I couldn't even bury my baby myself. But she says, I've realised there's something that you have got to lose, and I'm going to make sure that you do. I'm going to bleed you flipping dry, mate. So
what does
go
she think
Toyah.
She's got on him?
Well, she knows that he's a massive con artist, doesn't she? She just needs to... because it's kind of obvious to her.
No, that's rubbish.
She just needs to get the evidence. Maybe Kevin can help her out with that.
That's rubbish. She's got nothing on him.
She hasn't yet,
she's
but
so
she's
completely
determined.
Convinced. I know, but Michael, the sad fact of the matter is, it's totally possible to run a cult where you don't commit any crimes and you don't do really technically anything wrong.
Yeah, well.
And so she's got no idea.
She's just feeling positive about herself. It's that Battersby spirit. It was good. I enjoyed it. I've got no issues there. So she goes back to the flat, and then this is where the story suddenly takes a massive nosedive.
This is where you complain about it.
Yeah, I mean, so she says to Nick, "Look, can't forgive Leanne," and he says, like, "I don't expect you to." She says, "I just wanna thank you," and then she goes in for a kiss. It was her this time.
Thank me with kisses.
This was the first proper kiss, wasn't it? Because was it last week when there was an almost kiss on the sofa?
No,
and
they
then
did
Sam
kiss, didn't they?
No, I thought it was an almost kiss, and then
know.
Sam comes in and interrupts them. Sam's been strangely absent this week, hasn't he? But this, not only was it like I'm mad, but we all saw it coming. We knew this was not going to be just a one kiss and done last week. But the fact that they were snogging by an open window. What the... Surely you've been living on that street for long enough that you've learned one or two things about how and how not to conduct an affair. Having a snog by an open window, that's just a rookie error, guys. Come on.
Well, not only that, but...
What?
There's a guy right outside.
Oh, yeah. The lurker, the Institute lurker from last week who was hanging about in the car just so happens to be there to take some photos.
And it's like he knew that they were going to kiss each other, but he's had no way of knowing this. He's like got his... It's like he was put there on purpose to catch them having an affair. But there's no way that anyone would have predicted this to happen unless they watched Coronation Street. So what on earth was he doing? What on earth was he doing there? Really, what was he doing there?
I guess he was just waiting outside in the hope that they would come out. Yeah.
That's an easy job, isn't it?
Yeah.
What else is he doing?
Well, Institute's rolling in it. They can pay for people to just hang around and intimidate people.
It's got go down Coronation Street and then pop up by Victoria Park, sit outside that girl's house, see if you can catch her snogging. And also, can you book me a holiday to Hayes Travel while you're there? I don't think the Argus is open yet, but I do want a a mini Trevor.
Yeah, there are definitely signs up for the Sainsbury's Argos, aren't there? But I guess we've got a few weeks left. I need to find out from people on the tours whether it's there yet. Anyway, meanwhile, Leanne's over with Rowan, uploading into the cloud, and it makes her feel so much better now she's got all that off her chest. So she starts to bring up the funeral and talks about what Toya's accusing them of doing, trying to ruin it and make it all about them. And he's like, no, I was just trying to pay my respects. She says, I know Toya's just really hurting at the moment and she can't see you for what you are, the lovely guy you are, Rowan. He says, no, this is fine, this is common for loved ones. Quite often they'll think that we're trying to steal you away from them. This is classic culty distance you from your family behaviour here. It's like, my mum was the same when I joined the institute. My mum was massively controlling. They helped release me from her control, and she says, "Look, Nick and Toyah will come round. It's fine." Once again, because I don't think he was in this. I know he did. Rowan appeared on Tuesday and Wednesday's episodes, didn't he? I just have a big grin on my face whenever he's on the screen. It's amazing. I love him. Meanwhile, again, I'm just trying to put off this, but Nick and Toyah have done it. They've bonked. They've made the beast with the two backs. He's sampled her veggie lasagna firsthand. Oh, they come out of the bedroom. They're buttoning up blouses and shirts. I had kind of. We saw that there was going to be something. We saw it bubbling away for weeks. But even when there was just this kiss earlier, I thought maybe that's all it's going to be. Maybe just a kiss. I could almost forgive them for a kiss, but. I'm just why do they have to? I'm fuming. It's really made me. I was never like the world's biggest Nick fan, but it's really made me have a downer on Toyah, and she's one of my favourites. I'm very disappointed in her.
It also feels like Nick really didn't have any agency or choice in this. He just went along with it. Like Toyah's some kind of unstoppable force of sexual nature, right? And then Toyah goes, don't apologise, it was my fault, I needed that closeness, but we should forget and not do it again. Like, really clinical, wasn't she? She's like, right, I got a good shag out of that was great, let's not do it again. What on earth? How can you be so cold about it? Like, if you're going to have an affair, do it properly.
I just don't, it doesn't feel like...
It does feel like, honestly,
maybe I just can't get into the head of somebody who would bonk their girlfriend's sister on the day of their burying their baby's funeral. But is this really in any way a usual human reaction to something? No. Do people fall into bed with each other quite so easily? I just don't think that. I don't think that Nick would do it.
Messing with your head. I don't think it's unusual.
Well, they're not going to have that excuse next time.
Well. It's almost like the way they came out, like, and Toyah's like, it's my fault, we don't do it again, I needed to do it. It's almost like she was like, I've read the script, it said we came out of the bedroom and we shagged each other, so there's no point, Nick. They've already decided, they had a story conference, they said that we were going to do it, so we have to do it.
I see zero chemistry between them as well, but I feels like I'm in the minority. Everyone on Corey's Instagram's loving it.
Well, maybe they're deleting all the horrible comments, I wouldn't blame them.
Man... This is going to drag. This is going to go on, isn't it?
Don't put this... Let's forget it now.
It's really got me down.
It just turned it into a really predictable storyline because they've got... Now they've got this blackmail material they're going to use on Toyah.
It's just really...
Well, we've got affair storylines going on because we've got Joel and Dee Dee. We've got... we had...
who's Joel having an affair with?
Well, he's shagging around with all of his girls.
Oh, presumably.
And then we've got Nick and Toyah and Leanne, and we had Tracy and Steve and Tommy. It just like we've got blackmail because we've got Kevin and Stefan with their videos of each other. We've got Rowan with his photo of Nick and Toyah. Like, why are we having doubled up? Yeah. Really boring, really cliche, like bog standard soap storylines that you could put in any situation, anywhere ever. Why are they all at the same time?
Whereas the cult bit of it isn't that.
Yeah, and
the cult bit of it feels unique.
And the deep fake, like naughty videos, that's another thing that nobody's done on Coronation Street before. Why have you got blackmail and affairs going on at the same time?
It's a transitionary period for the producers, isn't it?
They're like, quick, what should we do? Affair. If
Anyway.
you can't think of anything to do, shove them together in bed.
I don't know what I want out of this at the end. Like, do I now want... Because the thing, Leanne's going to find out, isn't she?
I know, that's why it's boring.
It wouldn't be a normal reaction for her to just forgive, unless, the Institute has done a number on her so much that she's just Miss Perfect.
No.
It's going to... I don't know how, in real life, anyone would ever come back from this. So what's the alternatives? A, they do come back from it, and it just feels unrealistic. B, Toyah and Leanne, this literally is the end for them. Or...
Nobody, they haven't done this to each other before.
No, they haven't. I mean, the Imran story, when was that? 4 or 5 years ago, when it turned out they were both dating him. That was kind of played for laughs, and I don't even remember whether one knew that...
No,
I don't think that they knew
really
that
care.
they were.
It wasn't that serious.
No, and no, that's the thing. It wasn't. But Nick and Leanne, I know not everybody loves them together, but this is a solid, long-term, decades long. I know they've had their breaks.
I know, but they've been dating each other longer than some people who've been watching the show.
They've been dating each other longer than some people who are watching the show have been alive.
Yeah.
And to have it thrown away by this horrible affair, which just seems to be put in place to have a before the break. Oh, it's such a bad decision, so bad, and I don't see any outcome that's either going to make sense or be satisfactory.
Well, there's no way that Leanne's going to react well to this using her programming, because Rowan wants this to come out so that he can use it to further separate Leanne from Nick and Toyah both.
Yeah.
This is the best thing that could have happened. And the annoying thing about it is that it wasn't anything to do with him. That's why it's just frustrating. It's not like...
That's true, yeah.
It's like a special gift for him.
I mean, I suppose that Toyah and Nick have been bonding through shared... distrust of Rowan, but it's not through his immediate actions. He's not been trying to push them together.
No. If there was some kind of plot strand where he had done something that made them like send flowers to Toyah and she thinks it's from Nick, or some kind of manipulation that's made them end up together so that he can triumph over it. But it's just so convenient, isn't it, for him that this has happened? Yeah,
because not everybody, as I said earlier, would react in this way. So in the 1,000,000 to 1 chance that these two have ended up bonking together, that's just fallen right into his lap. So I'm, and it's making me team Rowan, and it's not rare for me to side with the villains. I've got to really love the protagonists, the heroes, to not side with the villains, and that kind of goes to show how much Toyah has fallen in my estimation in the past couple of weeks. That when Rowan gets handed this the camera, what does he do? Lurker goes and Bluetooth some pictures over to him, doesn't he? Rowan, this evil the Grinchy smile slowly spreads onto his face, and he goes, "Oh, brilliant!" I'm like, "Yeah, what are you gonna do now, Toyah and Nick?" And that's not the reaction that I should be having.
Yeah,
is that just me? Am I just evil?
But if you're going to be very morally black and white about this, he's done nothing wrong, and Toyah and Nick have. So who's the villain here? What has Rowan done? Really? What has Rowan really done? Oh no, he paid for a funeral.
Manipulation and scammery.
But how? We've come back to this a million times. He hasn't scammed anybody. He said, it's £200 for this, it's £300 for that, it's £500 for this. And she's gone, that sounds good to me. I'll tell you what, if that's a scam, then I got scammed when I got my degree, because I've used it for nothing. I want my money back. That was a bit more expensive than £200.
Right, so Leanne gets home later and says, "Oh, sorry, Toyah, we had a fallout earlier. I've had an upload. I'm chilled out now. I didn't really mean to upset you after all."
No more secrets.
And Nick's like, "We've all done bad things today. We should just try and forgive and forget."
Honestly, if I heard him say that, I'd be like, "Sorry, what?"
Yeah,
what did you do?
You're right. It was a proper soap moment, wasn't it? Nick says, "No, was it Nick or was it Leanne? I can't remember." Says, "No more lies." And
Okay.
yeah, by that we of course mean hashtag no more secrets.
Don't be
as well.
shagging behind my back.
Definitely don't do it. Well, it's okay, Gemma, because Toyah said they should never do it again. So we can trust Toyah, can't we? That was a one and done
It's
thing.
not a strumpet.
Problem is it? Is it though?
Oh, God,
Are they
no.
going to stay together? Do you predict this is going to turn into a long-term secret affair story? Is it just going to be a
don't wanna
one
think
and
about
done,
it.
and that's going to be the straw that breaks Leanne's back? But it was just a one-off thing. I mean, if it is a one-off thing, and Leanne's kind of mad for a bit, but then she gets back together with Nick. I guess that I could be satisfied with that as the best possible outcome for me.
It's just so frustrating. I know I keep harping on about this, but okay, the show that I watched, this Dancing for the Devil, whatever it was, this cult thing, and every other cult thing I've ever seen, 'cause there's brilliant, bloody millions of these cults and millions of documentaries about them. None of them were like, oh, it was all okay until I had that affair with her sister. Like, what? No, we don't. Cults don't only ever work because somebody shags around behind the person's back and they have to go deeper into the cult to cope with it.
They're
Why are we
quite
chucking it
tricksy
in?
themselves without all that.
Yes, there's
Shenanigans.
it's so stupid. Most of the time, if there's shagging about, it's because the cult leader's gone, well, sorry, I have to realign your chakras with my penis.
Yeah, polygamy, it's a must. Anyway, so bistro later, Toyah tells Nick, look, I don't really want to go back to the flat later, not after what happened before. This cannot happen again. And Nick says, you're right. If this got out, it would destroy the family.
Oh.
I wonder whether it will.
I also love this way that Toya's like, just to remind you, I know I'm a catch, but you can't be hitting this again, baby. It's like she's tempting him. She's making him think about it again. Don't talk about it.
Maybe it's not just me being all pious about it, but I would generally kind of say, well, Toyah is... I know it's like free love and all that with Spider, but I kind of see her as being a character with morals, somebody to in some way respect and look up to. She's... Compared to many of the other women on the street, she had been a bit more of a good role model.
But she also, I mean, I was just trying... Why did she get struck off? Because she wouldn't lie, or she did lie.
She kept it quiet about Dr. Ali being on the
But that's
diazepam.
because she thought she shouldn't say anything because it was the best thing to do.
Yeah.
But I forgot what I was going to say.
Toyah knows firsthand what it's like to be on the receiving end of an affair. Because, Maria back in the day was knocking boots with her boyfriend, lecturer what's-his-face, and now she's going to inflict that pain on her sister, which she knows is going to make it a million times worse. It's all very well saying we mustn't do it again. I'm sorry, if it's happened once, that's once too much, and you deserve everything that's got coming to you. I'm going to force feed you a sausage.
No, that's not funny.
That'll make her regret it.
That's her problem.
What?
Goblin sausages, and she shouldn't be. I wondered when she came out of the bedroom and she was like, I needed that closeness. I wonder whether some part of her, like, psychology counselling thing has been like, oh, I'm going to forgive myself and this doesn't really count, because I remember the chapter I read on grief said that sometimes people can have very strong sexual urges in the face of... I don't think that's wrong though, Michael. You keep saying, oh, I don't understand why anyone would do this. I do think that there is some kind of weird connection, and some people do need and crave that physical connection or closeness with somebody.
That's fine.
I know, I'm not saying...
Not having an affair. I just don't believe that as they were ripping their clothes off each other.
But my point is, like, I think she might have in her head gone, it's a totally normal reaction. It's because of your grief, but you just have to make sure it doesn't happen again, which is why she keeps going around saying it. Like, she's forgiven herself because it was kind of like she almost is kind of trying to make herself believe it was inevitable. Do you know? I can see her. That's why I use the word clinical to describe her reaction. It almost felt like she was like viewing herself through the eyes of a therapist and going, it wasn't the best idea to do that, but you've done it, so you have to move on from this and cope and find a way forwards.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it's not down to her to forgive herself. She's got... Oh, God. What have you done?
My only hope for this story is that, well, we didn't actually see them do it?
Oh,
and
come
have
on,
they
of course
actually?
they did.
Well, you know, if
What do
Corrie
you think
seemed
they
to
were
be.
doing in there? Oh, we can't do that again. You're right. That was the most
Corrie
boring.
have shown this year that they're perfectly happy to be free and loose with Toya's history if we didn't see specifically something happen. So if we didn't see her have a baby, she could have had a baby. If we didn't see her going into the bedroom and just having a bit of a cuddle, then maybe that's all it was that happened.
We can never do that again, Nick, because that jigsaw puzzle, there was a piece missing.
Oh no.
Come on, we can't keep going on about it. It's not like I've never done anything wrong in my life, and you certainly have. I know, but you're just being really judgy. Like, we've got to move on.
I am being really, really judgy.
Everyone's human. It's fine. Everyone's human. These are fictional characters, but we've got to stop now.
Is she going to get pregnant?
Yes.
Well, no, that would. I think that would make it even worse.
I think people would riot. So I think they probably have decided that's the best thing to do.
They cannot have her get pregnant from super fertile Nick, because it would mean everything that she's gone through with all the fertility issues accounted for nothing. It's going to make the story worse.
Look, let's move on. I'm fed up with it.
Alright, well, okay. So Rowan turns up at the bistro later and he wants to see Leanne, and Toya's like, she's not here and you can get lost. Also, I'm going to pay you back that money for the funeral, I'm going to take to the cleaners when it comes to the trial too. I won't be played again, she says. I wouldn't be so sure, smiles Rowan.
Rowan's done nothing wrong. He's just smug. That's not a crime.
He's got you wrapped round his little finger, hasn't he?
Tell me what he's done wrong.
No. Toya gets home later and says to Nick, I've had a bit of a run-in with Rowan, actually. I'm very determined to bleed him for every penny that he's got. Then she gets a message. It's the picture of them snogging. So somebody sent it to her on the phone. How is this
possible?
And she's like, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done it outside the window. I'm surprised that they didn't just set up outside the window and rip each other's clothes off and right there for the world to see. If they didn't realise that somebody might possibly have been looking when they were kissing, they've clearly got no awareness of their surroundings. So hey, why not?
Do you know what the funny thing about it is though? Is like on soaps, people are never curious to look out the window because they'd always see the person spying on them. When I'm near a window, I'm staring. That's why we see the shagging pigeons on the roof next door. Because I'm always looking out the window. If I'm near a window, I'm looking out of it. You can't spy on me out of a window because I see you. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm by the window. I'm looking out. How incurious! They totally deserve to have been caught for just being so oblivious and arrogant. They'd not even enjoy the beautiful view of Weatherfield from their exclusive balcony.
The lovely view of the burnt out builder's yard, yeah. Anyway, she's...
See, that would wind me up. If I lived there, I'd always be looking out the window going, when are they going to sort this bloody burnt out husk of a building? I'm sick and tired of it, Nick. Oh, there's a man there taking a photo.
The fact that she was looking out for this guy who'd been clearly spying on her as well. Anyway, mustn't dwell on this. No. People have probably already skipped it. Off. Anyway, she's like, oh no, I've got a picture. If this gets out, we're finished.
It will ruin the family. Did I say that already?
So, Wednesday rocks up.
What will Sam say?
And
I'll tell you what, if I was them two, I'd be like, I don't care what Leanne's going to say. No. I just cannot cope with this lecture I'm going to get off Sam. Why did you have an affair? Explain it to me. Oh no, I'm sorry. Please don't ask me questions.
Toya on Wednesday says, right, I've decided, Nick, we need to get everything out in the open here. We need to, well, not everything. We're not going to tell Leanne exactly what we got up to in the bedroom yesterday, but I think if we show her the photo, Rowan's not got anything over us.
Yeah,
it's risky.
Leanne was desperate to do that jigsaw with you.
It's risky. This could push her and Rowan together, but yeah, we need to do it. I'll take the blame. I don't want to risk you throwing Nick out, and poor Sam would lose a parent. How very honourable of you, Toya.
I know,
it was you though, Toya, wasn't it? You were the one that went in and made the first move. So don't act like you're being so magnanimous here. But anyway, Rowan turns up at the bistro later. Nick says to Leanne, that Rowan can bring some institute people around to have a little corner of the bistro for a meeting. This was fun.
Cafe.
They've got I still can't work out whether that cafe is supposed to be an institute building or whether it's just random Weatherfield cafe, but never mind. They want a change of scenery for an evening do, and Nick's like, well, I guess we're gonna have to do this, aren't we? And Rowan's thinking this is hilarious. So gigs in full swing later. Crystal's probably on all the tables. Rowan gives Toyah another copy of this NDA and she says, I will never bow down to you. No way am I signing it. How many scenes later was it that she was signing it? I forget. He's loving all this and says, you're just a massive hypocrite. Toyah says, I'm going to tell Leanne about the kiss. What are you going to do about that?
Can you imagine if Toyah was so stupid to go, I'm going to tell her about the kiss, but I'm never going to admit that I shagged him.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure that she'll be perfectly happy with this and not ask any more probing questions. Do you think that this would have been a sensible move for Toyah? Would you have recommended that she comes clean about it, or just hope that Rowan wasn't actually going to give it to Leanne?
Oh God, I'm so glad I don't have to worry about any of this. It's so, don't complicate your lives, people.
It was a massive risk. I don't think I could have, if it was me, I don't think I could have bring myself to do it. I would have just probably said, let's just really hope that we can stop him doing it. Because, anybody, but, Leanne, the cowbag of Weatherfield, she's not going to say, no, Toyah, you really shouldn't have done that, but just don't do it again, okay? Are you sure there's nothing else you want to tell me? She would have...
What?
She would have probably had the same reaction as if she'd known that they had done it.
If I was Toyah, I'd sit Leanne down and say, listen, Leanne, okay, right, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to imagine you're in a forest. And I want you to smell the pine needles, and as you're walking forwards, just feel the leaves crunch under your foot as you walk through. You can hear birds singing. The breeze is rustling the leaves in the trees. And ahead of you is a cabin. And you walk forwards, you hold your hand out, you place it on the handle, it's brass, it feels cool to the touch. You open the door and it smells a bit dusty inside. You walk forwards and there is in front of you a series of briefcases. And you open one and inside is a picture of me and Nick kissing. But it's completely fine. You close the case and put it back and we don't speak of it again. 3, 2, 1, you're back in the room. How do you feel?
Yeah,
calm?
that would work. I would say, now that it's out there, I'd just, any kind of photo evidence that's going to be used of illicit affairs. Deepfake. Prove it's not, Leanne. Prove it's not.
Leanne.
This is high-tech technology. I mean, look, we got AI Ollie. We got us snogging. Both not real, but
what Toyah should have done was, right, now they've got that picture of us kissing, we're going to have to stage a bunch of other deepfakes. So let's do a bunch of rude positions where we change outfits all the way through, and I'll draw like a little tattoo on my bum and stuff so that nobody knows it seems like it's not us. So come on, get your pants off.
I bet she has got I bet she's got a spider tattoo.
Oh,
crawling out of her bum hole.
How would you draw that?
I don't know. Anyway, so I can't believe I said that. So she goes in and she has a bit of a moment outside the bistro, which Amy catches. Were we the only ones that forgot that Amy was working at the bistro? Were we supposed to know that Amy was working at the bistro? Was anybody else surprised that Amy was working at the bistro this week?
I thought she did. I don't know.
Because I certainly was, but I suppose it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
Amy's working at the bistro and she sees Toyah outside saying, you're right, and she's like, yeah, I'm fine, but she ain't. So she goes back inside and there's Rowan standing up to give a speech to his congregation of institutees, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be brilliant. I didn't actually think it was as epic a speech as it could have been, to be fair, but it did have the brilliant moment where Leanne officially gets promoted to level 5 of the institute. It's hilarious.
How many levels are there?
I don't know.
I guess the point of being in the cult is that you don't actually reveal.
Yeah, exactly.
You never reveal how many levels there are, so you could be like level 5 of 100.
Anyway, so Leanne's talk goes up and she talks about how brilliant the Institute's been for her life, how it makes us feel safe and seen. And
I want to join a cult.
It sounds lovely, doesn't it? Yeah. Toyah huffs off. chats with Nick in the office later and says, look, maybe we shouldn't tell Leanne after all. I'm just going to see how many devious tricks Rowan's going to get up to, and then we can just reveal it all to Leanne in one go at a later date. I'm going to be the best behaviour. I'm going to sign this NDA for now and just make him think that I'm rolling over him. But I'm not. I'm really not. So she delivers it at the end of the episode to a very smarmy Rowan who thinks that like he's won, and he buggers off, and Toyah says, Nick, I'm going to keep quiet for now, but I am not going to stop rocking the boat for Leanne. Don't you worry. So Friday, we didn't get much of it on Friday. I think we even said on the short that it felt on the end of Wednesday's episode that this was putting the story to bed for a few weeks, didn't it? It was very much like there's going to be low level meddling from Toyah for the next filming block, and then it was going to appear back again mid-July. But we got a little bit on Friday, but I suppose this was just tying up the loose ends around Rose and the fact that Toyah was accused of murdering her. Basically, a detective comes around and says, case is closed, that's over, was it worth the retcon, guys? And yeah, that was kind of it. Toyah later on in the episode goes to Leanne and says, look, thanks for supporting me earlier, because Leanne was there when the detective came around the house. I don't know why they couldn't have just done it on the phone, but never mind. And Leanne says, oh, it's going to be a sad day when I can't support my sister, probably, which makes Toyah feel a hell of a lot worse, considering what she's done to Leanne this week. So, only other scene this episode for this story was Nick having a chat with Toyah later and saying, I don't know how long you can keep up this act of supporting what the Institute are doing. And Toyah's like, you're right, I think I'm spending too much time with you. I need a bit of downtime. I'm going to move out.
With what money?
Maybe that's going to make Rowan back off if he doesn't think that I'm always dripping poison about him into Leanne's ear. So maybe she'll just go and live with Daisy at this nebulous flat that she's supposedly moved into.
Do you not think it's weird? Like, she's got no money. What's happened with this? Have they just cancelled the money that she owes them for the court fees? Don't know.
I can't remember. They probably have said it. I've got a feeling, and I may be completely wrong, that it's all fine. It's all done and dusted. But it might not be. I don't really know. If they want to bring it up again, they will. I'm sure she's going to be fine. So it feels like that story's kind of done, doesn't it? For the time being, sadly, because I love it. But they definitely went down some routes that I was not pleased about this week.
It just feels like they took a cool, say it a million times, a cool, unique story, and they just made it a boring soap story with blackmail and affairs and kissing and... It's just the same story as Abby and Kevin and Stefan with slightly different outfit
it's
on.
It's CD, isn't it? I did find it interesting that Amy was involved in this, because she's not got a whole lot going on at the moment. She's slightly involved in the Ken and Cassie story. It made me kind of wonder, could Amy be the Institute's next recruit? I would not be adverse to adding an extra member of the cast into this storyline. Amy seemed to think that the Institute guys were pretty stand-up, nice chaps and ladies on Wednesday.
The thing about Amy also is that she's very young and idealistic, so she would be a great recruit for them to win over, because she'd be singing their praises from the rooftops and trying to recruit everybody herself. Well, Leanne's definitely in a vulnerable position so that she's easier to win over, but she's not the kind of like gung-ho missionary type, is she? Like Amy is, in my opinion. I think Amy's definitely the sort of person who wants to share what she knows with people.
I just think,
and her opinions on things.
I think Amy's too smart or too kind of cynical to be taken in by the Institute. And I think that's a
dangerous thing to think.
Has she got anything at the moment really that the Institute can hold over her?
No, you don't need it. You just need somebody. Well, she's got a vulnerability, the same as Leanne, and you know her stuff is what happened with Aaron, and she already tried to kill somebody. If she has an upload session and she says, "Oh yeah, remember this guy? This time I got a guy, I drugged him and drove him into the woods," they'd be like, "Great, thanks for telling us that blackmail information."
I just don't think that Amy feels quite broken enough yet that Rowan would be able to have an easy ride.
No, because
trying to recruit her.
She was getting involved with the shoulder volunteers, wasn't she? So she's definitely believes in the power of self-help. And if the Institute can say, actually we have a support group for women who are like you, who've had experiences with the same ththings that you have. And so we really care about that, and we want to. If they have the same perspective on things as she does, why wouldn't she join them? She already started her own support group, and it didn't go very far, did it? Mm-hmm. But if they said, look, we've got resources, we've got all these things that you can use, why don't you join us and help women in the same situation that you were in?
Yeah, maybe.
I think you're being a bit not meaning to mean about people that have fallen
victim to cults.
I don't think anyone is too smart or cynical to not be preyed upon in a really vulnerable time in their lives by somebody that said that they have the answers.
I just doesn't feel that Amy is in that much of a vulnerable position, and I know she went through a bit of a trauma last year.
Michael, this is Coronation Street. It only takes one episode for you to have your entire life turned upside down.
This is true. What am I thinking about? Let's move on to the next story. Speaking of tragedy and trauma going on in people's lives, poor Paul this week.
This was... So last we left them, they weren't keen on Summer's new beau, Felix.
Oh, I'm kind of sad that Felix is gone after 2 episodes of you.
I know.
Why? They could have milked that water bottle for a little bit longer.
Go a bit sour after a while.
The scene in the bistro, I don't know what the actor's name is that plays Felix,
where
he's sitting there with Summer, and she gets her little glass of wine brought to her, and he gets that. It was very Roy. It's the sort of thing that I could imagine him doing, like getting his flask
getting obsessed with hydration.
I can imagine him with his tea, ordering a tea and then emptying it into his flask. And Felix gets the bottle of water, empties it into his bottle of water, and just looking down to check the levels on it. It was brilliant. There was no dialogue there, but the guy who played him did it just superbly.
But the most hilarious thing to me about that scene is that it does look like he's sort of measuring, like, I need to make sure I've got the exact right measurement of water here because I feel as though I need an extra, like 250 millilitres. But actually, as far as I remember, the levels on that bottle were not measurements. They were like, you can do it, nearly there. The end of the day, keep drinking.
Yeah.
Like, so he's like, oh, it says keep drinking, but I want to go back to you can do it. So I was just...
there were maybe this was right. A bit like Lurch last year, that after a couple of episodes he's still on top, and take him away from us while we still like him before he has a chance to go.
He's merifies. Right. So we left them there with the dad's not being totally sure, but Paul's hating it. Paul does not like Felix at all, and so you've got Todd, Billy and Paul all in the flat together, and Paul's just bitching about Felix. He writes this massive long sentence about how much of a snob he is, and then Summer and Felix walk in right as this machine malfunctions and says Felix is a snob over and over again.
It was a real long rant, wasn't it? I liked the idea of this until the machine malfunctioned and it just played it again and again and again, and that
will never happen again.
It would never happen again. I don't think it would have happened. I think that having him just walk in and hearing it once would have been enough. It doesn't need the panic.
If they really wanted,
these machines don't do that.
If they really wanted to have it repeat, it could have just been it saying Felix is a snob, Felix is a snob, and Billy going, stop looking at it, Paul. You keep saying it over and over, and Paul's like, I can't stop looking.
Yeah, it's like a mind reader.
Yeah, right. So yeah. So they're not happy about. I think Felix sort of goes off.
He goes off to the library, doesn't he?
The central library.
Yeah.
Billy finds Summer in the cafe, and she's a bit upset. She doesn't really know what to do, but she doesn't want to fall out with Paul, so she goes back to the flat to talk to him, and tries to get to the bottom of what it is he doesn't like about Felix, and he starts crying. And she doesn't know what to do, so she calls Billy and leaves. And it turns out that really the main problem with Paul is that he knows he's not going to see what happens. He's not going to see whether Felix and Summer make it, if they end up getting married, if she has babies. All the future's been stolen from him. And he says, all I want to do is protect her, but I can't. me having this disease, I'm abandoning her. And then he starts crying again. So that was really
goes
horrible.
without saying, Peter Ash, once more.
Yeah. And totally understandable too.
I'm in utter awe of him at the moment. The amount of effort and talent and must be needed to pull off this performance. I've never met anyone with MND. I don't know what it looks like, but I am 100% buying that he's got it, and I can't speak more highly of him. But the idea that his main problem is that he wants summer. He doesn't want to miss what's coming next for summer. Yeah, but I think he does know that Felix is a bit of a tit, doesn't he? And maybe he's worried that maybe summer's going to end up with a bit of a tit.
No, I don't think that's it.
But he is, though, isn't he?
Yes, he is. But I think he knows that it's not going to work out. It's just all catching up to him to know that it's not going to happen.
I find it funny, and I shouldn't, I suppose, that Paul is so protective over Summer, because I know that he's been a bit of one of the three gay dads before, but as she's getting older, the lack of age gap between Summer and Paul is standing out more.
Never crossed my mind.
It's what's the age difference between them? I mean, it's probably bigger than I think, but it feels like it's 10, but it can't be. It's more. It is. I know it's more than that, but he doesn't feel old enough, and she feels very mature. No, I know. It's just a very grown up thing for somebody like of Paul's age to be feeling so protective of this girl who is now an adult.
I know what you're saying, but I don't agree with you at all.
No, that's fine. I totally get that. It's just how I felt when he was saying when he was saying that.
Well, there's a certain level of latching on to things, and they're all family.
Yeah, they are.
You can't question these families on Corrie, because there are so many families like that where they don't really make sense. If you really look at the ages or like the situations, and you see, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the age gap thing was brought up as part of this conversation, wasn't it? Because Summer says to Paul, look, is it the age gap between me and Felix that's your problem? And then points out that the age gap between Paul and Billy is actually wider than those two. So, there's...
Well, I don't know.
They just like to throw characters together sometimes, don't
I think
they?
it's nice to think that you make your own family.
Yeah, fine.
Right, so Summer goes to talk to Todd about what's happened, and she says she's going to have to dump Felix. He's going down to London and she wants to do it to him face to face, and she does like him, but Paul's more important. So Felix and Summer are at the bistro and she's trying to dump him, but then Billy and Paul turn up, and Paul apologises for what he said earlier and asks for forgiveness, and Felix likes the sound of it, and they all have dinner, and then Felix pays for it, does he actually get dumped? Yeah. Can you imagine if you paid for everyone's family to eat dinner and then you got dumped?
No, he doesn't get dumped, does he? Because on Wednesday she's saying, I really want to make this long distance relationship
work. You said
work.
they did get broken up with. You did. You said you'd only fit it for 2 episodes.
Well, no, yeah, he went back down to London.
I know, but that's not the same as dying.
I just get the impression that we maybe
as
won't
much as
see
Coronation
him again.
Street seems to think it's the same thing. Right, so everyone's happy. Paul tells Summer that he thinks Felix is nice, just a bit weird, which I think is, pot, kettle. They're all weird on this programme, and that's how we like it, isn't it? He tells her that he was too caught up in worrying about the future because he's not going to be there to see it. And she's like, look, don't worry about it. I'm not going to get married soon. Well, she should get married. Just speedrun it. Speedrun it so that Paul can see.
Just do a little fake wedding. Do a mock-up.
She should
just
do...
to make him happy.
Like,
you don't need to know it's not real.
Coronation Street, I'm a resident, so this is my life, Paul. Me and Felix get married. It turns out to be a serial killer. He tries to kill Billy. I find out. We get divorced. He goes to prison. He breaks out of prison. He comes after me. I've got a baby from somewhere that I had before. And then he tries to kill the baby. I cried. Billy comes and jumps out. Billy gets stabbed. Then Felix gets killed by another character you don't know because it's not in it yet. And then I get married to, I don't know, Simon comes back with a new head and he's really fanciful, so I get married to him. Then I have Barlow babies, and then my character gets run over by a tram.
I think Paul would be just kind of glad that you'd get better off out of that,
yeah,
to be honest.
I'll leave you to it.
You go, spoilers. I'm like,
On Wednesday, Summer's upset because she's seen Felix go to London and she's determined to make this long distance relationship work. Paul is pleased with her, but then the occupational therapist turns up to talk about the fact that he fell down the stairs. And
Wednesday's episode is all about Paul getting the wrong end of the stick with that, wasn't it? He thinks that it was Billy what summoned her.
Yeah. I see the point of that, but
it was another story. It was kind of a very short little bubble of a story that showed that they're still having the odd relationship problems, and despite everything that Billy doesn't. Yeah, Paul needs to trust Billy basically, and he doesn't always get things right all the time. But in this case, he didn't do anything wrong.
So the occupational therapist is there, and Paul's trying to downplay what happened, and someone's like, no, it was quite serious. Billy turns up, and Paul's glaring at him, and the nurse says it was an accident, dangerous, she needs to come and do a proper assessment another day. And then Paul has a go at Billy, the worse it is for me, the more you like it. How many times have I told you not to make decisions for me? You don't listen to me anymore, I count for nothing. So he's upset because he's losing agency, and I think every time some new development happens with the prognosis for Paul, Billy gets worried because he knows it's one step closer to Paul deciding that he doesn't want to be around anymore. So that tension is it's the main driving force of this story, isn't it? So Summer and Paul in the cafe later, and Paul's still mad about Billy, and she's ignoring messages from Felix, and he's like, you got to get on with your life, you can't stop because of me. Then Dr. Gaddis comes in and says, oh, I told an occupational therapist to come round. It wasn't Billy, by the way. Anyway, I'm not here to talk to you. I'm here to buy a bun.
Bye.
So, we'll go back to the flat. Billy comes in. Paul says, sorry about accusing you. Billy says, fine. Paul says, no.
Yeah, running through this storyline, it was very much people telling people things, wasn't it?
It was a bit. I need you to know how sorry I am. Billy's still annoyed. And then he goes to the cupboards, and there's all these post-it notes everywhere that says sorry on them, which I assume that Paul's made Summer do, which I wouldn't take as an apology myself, but that's because I'm quite vindictive. So he goes to Paul and says, all right, yeah, I was upset, I was frustrated, and it's really hard. I don't want to remember being mad at you when I look back. And Paul says, look, I'm sorry, I'll forgive you. They both forgive each other. We've got to trust each other. No more secrets, no shaking about, no lies. No, that wasn't quite how it went. And then that's it.
Yeah, that seems like the biggest speed run of a big story we've had. I mean, I suppose that there's not so much. Is there much to discuss here other than when wasn't everybody great?
Honestly, yeah. This just felt like there was a note that said put Paul and Billy stuff in here, but nothing about the MND.
It was a tug on the heartstrings kind of story.
Well, it was still to do with it, but it was more a relationship thing that was just kind of filling time. Like, oh, there's tension here, but don't worry, they resolved it.
Yeah, which sometimes Corrie does need a bit of that, because there wasn't particularly any huge attempts to have mega cliffhangers or drama. I suppose it was was he the one that called the OT on Paul? Oh no, it wasn't. It was lovely, and I think that the Wednesday's episode, we said on the short, did have lots of kind of heartwarming, just nice moments, didn't it? And I think that the scene with the post-it notes was really well done. Not the most touching of Paul and Billy scenes if you take the story as a whole, but yeah, it was just nice stuff, really. Maybe
Billy will find a post-it note after Paul is gone and remember the happy times they had an argument.
Maybe he will. Okay, well, we'll move on from that story if you've not got anything else to say about it particularly. Onto the hell-bent on stopping Brent story. How did you find this one this week? I'm not finding I'm getting invested in it as much as I maybe should be.
I think the sticking point to me was when they went, oh, it's £5,000 to take it off the internet, and Kevin went, oh, okay, interesting, yeah, that's fine. And just since then, the whole thing just feels not real to me. And I know that's a stupid thing to get stuck up on, because it's more and more incredible things have happened on Coronation Street, but it just doesn't feel real anymore.
The whole of this story hasn't necessarily felt real to me. I think I'm kind of... I still struggling sometimes to get past the fact that somebody would and could make a deep fake of Abby. It seems like an awful lot of work just to get at her.
I don't
And
agree
so
with you.
it kind of stubs... Yeah, didn't really get off the starting blocks for me.
I don't think that's far-fetched, knowing what I've read about what the depth some people go to, who have less of a reason to have an axe to grind than Stefan does with Abby, because indeed he was revealed this week to be behind.
Well, did he say that
That's
he was...
That's what I was trying to get at when I was talking to you about it earlier. I was like, what's happening? Did he really say he did it?
I think he hasn't said he hasn't done it.
I know, but it just doesn't... It feels... It reminds me of like when Toyah, when she revealed about Rose, she had to go through and explain how it was possible that it happened. Like, the writers knew that we'd be like, I don't believe this happened. There's no way. We watched the whole thing and this didn't happen. Right? So they had to sort of battle against our incredulity by explaining how it was possible that it could have happened. Whereas here, they've just gone... No, this is what happened. Just deal with it.
I mean, we've not reached the end yet, have we? It's just not feeling high
But
stakes
again, it's like, they got to
the
the end and it's like, well, I've got a video of you now. Well, I've got a video of you.
Okay, so let's crank our way through this one then. So Abby goes over to Max on Tuesday saying, look, thanks for you and your mate for trying to find out where these deep fakes come from. I know you've not been able to manage it, but...
Well, thanks for nothing.
Anyway, there's also, as part of that scene, I think, to the side, Sarah and Bethany talking, because Bethany is off for a job interview today, so she's needs to find herself a new mag to write in, and she... This is funny, it was like an almost... kind of, but actually was a classic Corrie fake out, wasn't it? She comes back and she's upset, and Sarah's like, is this one of the things where you suddenly say, hooray, I've got the job? Well, she did get the job, but what she's upset about is the assignment that's been given to her.
She was like, I've got
just so coincidentally.
She's like, I can't believe this because I've just got really good at writing about air fryers and now they want me to do something different.
Well, it seems like a good 50% of the jobs that get assigned to her just so happen to be about her neighbours. And I know that there's an awful lot to write about if you live on Coronation Street, but
we never
it
find
seems
out,
a little bit of a coincidence.
Do we ever find out what the magazine's name is?
Yes, it's called Seriously. Seriously?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I hate that. I hate it in movies where something comic happens and a character will go, really? Seriously? I hate that so much. It drives me up the wall. And they've named a whole magazine.
It's not real, it's okay.
So why don't they just call it BS with an exclamation mark?
Bethany comes over to the garage a little bit sheepishly later and she says, look, Abby, I got the job, but I've been asked to write about Corey. Sorry about that. They're already preparing this article in support of Corey and how it was a cowardly decision for the TV company to pull the episode. I suppose this is the other crux of the matter for me. I just don't believe
anyone cares this much.
Yeah, nobody cares this much about a documentary that's been streamed online somewhere. It doesn't feel that anybody's watching it.
No, it's
or
not on
anyone
Netflix.
Would watching it.
It's on some random channel no one's heard of. It's about a kid who definitely did the crime that he was said about. And honestly, the salacious story is not that Corey Brent is a sad footballer playing urchin who's been wronged by the justice system. The sexy bit of the story is what he got accused of and found guilty of doing, which would be what everyone ran with.
Yeah.
This would be the story that everyone wanted to cover. It wouldn't be, oh, poor little rich boy with his football. It would be, can you believe this rich arsehole is trying to get away with murder again?
I know.
That's what it would be.
Maybe that's my biggest problem with it. I'm not sure.
It just feels a bit like trying to hammer, a square into a round hole. It just doesn't work. It rings hollow because it doesn't actually make sense how human beings are.
You said that it wasn't on Netflix, but of course it couldn't be on Netflix, as we found from the Chesney story on Wednesday when they loaded up the films on, who was it? One of Joseph's mates. Oh, his mates has subscribed to this streaming service.
I thought that they were just like, it's just a dodgy One of those dodgy ones where...
Imagine if they'd settled down and the big AI-generated Abby sex video appeared on the sheet.
I've seen this one before. What's next?
Oh, it's Kevin raiding somebody's office. That's a bit of a weird choice, but maybe it gets racier later when he takes off his jacket.
I found you in my office, Kevin. You shouldn't be here. What are you going to do about it, Mr. Brent?
Right, okay, so anyway, what was going on? Bethany's told Abby that she's been asked to write about Corey.
Yes.
So Abby's like, I can't believe about this.
Can't deal with this.
But she finds out pretty quickly that this Silver House publishing company that Bethany works for has actually got Stefan Brent as its CEO.
Bethany, again, is proven to be the most dim-witted person who's ever had the audacity to call themselves a journalist. She's got no investigative skills whatsoever.
Even know who her
she
new
didn't
boss
even know
is
who
going
her boss
to
was. She walks in going, "Oh, Abby, I don't understand why somebody would do the minimum amount of research about what it is that you're even doing."
Anyway,
she's just so they're not even doing it on purpose. Just at every turn, she's being made out to be an idiot.
I know.
Like her mum.
Yeah.
Her. Can you imagine her and Sarah like in some kind of life or death like hostage situation or something? They just, what should we do? I don't know. I've heard that if you lick your finger and stick it in a plug hole, you might be able to generate a fire, so that the fire brigade will come and rescue us. Let's do that. Good idea. I've got a fork. We can use that.
Right. Basically, the drama at the end of this episode is what should we do next? Because Abby's like, she's all for marching down and causing a fuss yet again. They urge her a little bit of restraint, but by the final scene of the episode, she's looking up the publisher's address. She's going to be marching on down that publishing house the very next episode. She says that she's... I can't remember where she said she was going to go, but...
Oh, all this week we get the curse of the child, don't we, with Abby? Unfortunately, Alfie is now of the age where at the beginning or end of every scene, Abby needs to explain that she's come from or is going to drop Alfie off somewhere.
Yes, he was with Wendy today, apparently. Wendy P.
This is like the worst. This is why when characters get pregnant on Courier, I get a bit annoyed because I know the inevitable, but where is child? Child is at the nursery. Child's at school. I've got to go pick child up. Child is being babysat by somebody. I don't care. If your child's not in... I hate to tell you this, but if your child's not there, I'm not thinking about them. I really have no thoughts about it. It's not a real child. I don't need to know the babysitting. I'm not going to phone up child support, or what is it called?
Childline.
I'm not phoning Childline going, "Oh, the fictional child's gone missing in Weatherfield." You can do what you like with it. I don't need an alibi for where the child is at all times.
So she's telling Kevin later that she's found out that not only is Stefan the CEO of Bethany's publishing company that want to write this kiss-ass article about Corey, but he also just so happens to be on the board of directors for the company who made the documentary. The pieces are all starting to come together now. It must have been him, and here's putting two and two together, it must have been him that made the deep fakes to get his own back on me for bringing this documentary down.
This is just so dumb, honestly.
It seems that it's a bit of a petty response, but I suppose if you think that, maybe this documentary being out there it's not going to get his son out of prison, is it?
No, it's going to rehabilitate his image for when he gets released. But the idea that Stefan, because he works for a publishing company, has got access to these bank of hackers who can just make deep fake porn. Why would he be farting about with chit-chatting seriously if he could make fake porn? That makes so much more money.
Very true. He's probably, maybe he's thinking about setting up a new range of Max.
I married my hamster and my boyfriend's dead.
So they go to the police station, Abby and Kev. They to report what's been going on, and they see Swain bringing in quite a fairly smirking Stefan. He's a bit like Rowan here.
What's he
knows that they've reported him, haven't they? And she says
they said it was him what done it.
Yeah, exactly. He knows that they've not got anything, and he's.
I don't get it.
Why was he that out here?
Why was he at the police station?
Well, Swain says, "Look, I just need to. You keep your nose out of it, Abby. Let me do my job."
How did this conversation go? "Hi, I'm DS Swain. I'm here to investigate you. What for? Making porn. I didn't do it. Come down the station and talk to me about it. About what? I didn't do it."
Yeah, but
no, I'm not coming.
If he knows that he did do it, he wants to show that he's, working.
No.
Very cooperatively
This guy
with
is
the
supposed
police.
to be a CEO of a publishing company. I've got time to fan him about going down answering questions about porn.
No, it's alright. Print media's dying. He probably just sits around
I've
twiddling
got
his
nothing
thumbs
to do. I
all
haven't sold
day.
a single issue.
3 more mags have gone under just while I've been drinking this cup of tea. Sorry, Jammer.
Yeah, shut up.
Bethany finds Abby on cloud 9 at the garage later. She's like, "Yeah, I got Stefan arrested. Everything's coming up roses for Abby." Sorry, Toyah, that's insensitive in this week. So Abby says, Bethany's like, "Brilliant." But then, just to rain on their parade, Kevin comes back and says, "Well, I've just heard. I can't even remember how he found out. Convenience. Yeah, they probably all share a group WhatsApp on Coronation Street just called Convenient Reveals. Somebody needs to know something, so it's just popped up on here." Kevin says Stefan's been released already, so Abby storms down the station again and says, "How dare you let Stefan pull the wool over your eyes? Can you see what he's done?" And Stefan's like, "Well, he's very helpful, actually. We're not going to be taking any further action here." Furious is Abby.
How can they... No, this doesn't make any sense. They don't have any evidence or proof. What would they ask him? What were they asking him about?
Did you do these videos?
No.
You're free to go, sir.
Well, why did you ask me down there? I could have told you that back at my office. Do you see what I mean? There's no conversation to be had if you have no proof or evidence that somebody's done something wrong.
An interrogation scene could have been quite fun. I would have quite enjoyed seeing Stefan just smirming his way through the interview in the darkened room.
Or like Swain going, "Have you seen this video before?" "No, show it to me."
Yeah,
I don't recognise that at all.
So he's like, he gets barged in on by Abby. She's fed up. The police haven't been any cop as usual. So Abby takes matters into her own hands and barges into Stefan's office. And he says, "I don't know, what are you talking about? Documentary? I don't know. I'm a publisher, not a filmmaker." She says, "Well, I know that your snout is well and truly in the filmmaker's trough, actually. And I'm going to find all the proof I can that you are the deep faker." This definitely, there are shades of Toyah and Rowan in this two's relationship.
Yes. Some
strong women.
Powerful guy he's like trying to ruin someone's life. And but the thing is about it, he didn't do this himself. He must have got somebody to do it. So the most obvious thing is to find the guy that did it. And get them to confess.
Trying to do.
No, but they're not, though.
How can she do that, though? She's trying
Okay, but normally in Coronation Street, they'd have her standing around outside with sunglasses on so nobody recognises her. And then a guy walks out of the building with like a laptop looking furtive and she's like, "It must be him." And she follows him to a cafe and then she sees him editing and she's got a folder that's got Abby Franklin on his desktop and she knows it was him what done it. And then she grabs him by the balls and says, "You tell me everything I want to know about Stefan Brent or I'll make sure that you never father a child again." That would have been way more interesting than...
enjoy seeing that.
But that makes sense, whereas this doesn't make sense.
Well, she's kind of left feeling
Stefan
quite positive
didn't do
about the fact that she is going to take him down at some point
Yeah,
eventually.
but exactly like Toyah. I've got no reason to believe that I have any evidence or way of triumphing over you when you have vastly more resources and money than I could ever hope to, and I'm in no position whatsoever to do anything to you.
But because the plucky young underdogs.
I've just been listening to sisters doing it for themselves, so I'm really pumped up and I feel like I can do anything.
Well, the wind is soon taken out of her sails when Ronnie shows her that the pro-Corey article has been published later on. Not by Bethany.
Oh.
Not by Bethany. Abby starts to have a go at her and she says, "No, it was somebody else. Somebody else must have done it." But Abby's like, "Well, you refused an article and you still got your job. That doesn't make sense."
No.
Which, fair play to her, it doesn't really make sense. So she says, "Look, I'll quit. It's fine. I won't work there anymore." And Abby is not in the mood for any of her grovelling.
I've got to go pick up Alfie.
So she goes and picks up Alfie from wherever he's been on Wednesday's episode. Bethany says to Kevin, she kind of mentions, "Oh, maybe I could just stay on at the mag and be a bit of a spy on Stefan." And although Kevin doesn't need her to do that, he does say, "Go round there later." And gets her pass for Stefan's office.
But the thing is, this woman saying, oh, I can help you spy on my boss. You didn't even know who was your boss until I told you.
And now she's got a pass there
and
already.
Now she's like, oh yeah, I'm busy mates with him. I can put arsenic in his tea if you want me to.
I was quite looking forward to Kevin sort of Mission Impossibling down from the roof of Brent Industries and sneaking around and so almost getting in trouble and having to jump through the
roof.
Jump through lasers and avoid the spotlight and everything. But all we got was at the beginning of Friday's episode, he's already done it.
Yeah, that scene you were interested in. We did that when you weren't looking.
Yeah, but we did do a little CCTV footage of it, so we can use that later in the episode. So yeah, so that's already happened. And Kevin, what's he doing? Oh yeah, he's got this phone that he's picked up from his raids, and but he can't get into it.
It's the dumbest thing ever.
Well,
why has he just stolen a phone?
Well, because he's heard that in Coronation Street, if you ever have somebody's phone, just guess the password, and third attempt, you're in.
Corey, birth year.
Yeah, exactly. But no, Kevin doesn't know that trick, but he knows somebody who does. Takes it over to Max and says, "Look, can you get into this phone for me? It's a little bit dodgy, but can your mate hack it for me?" So there's another video that pings into the garage later. Tyrone's sitting on the computer and he hasn't learned any lessons, has he? If you receive a dodgy looking file from somebody who you don't know, and send it to the junk, Tyrone. In fact, I'm going to say the garage's spam filters need to have their settings changed, because the fact that Tyrone even got a chance to see this means that they could be a little higher on the security.
It's just the way that he casually opens it, like, oh, there's an anonymous
We've been getting
person.
loads of these later.
Oh, it must be another porn video. Let's see what this one's like.
Didn't Tyrone set himself up as the unofficial email checker-outerer when these all came along?
Pervert.
I mean, I want to know what's going on with Fizz. Since Jenny McAlpine came back from maternity leave, we've seen her in 2 episodes?
I know.
So maybe Tyrone's just missing a bit of lady action himself, or maybe he's got a change up in the bedroom. I don't know. That's why she's not stepped out of number 9. But whatever reason, he thinks it's perfectly safe to open up this random video that's appeared. But sadly for him, probably it's not AI Abby. It's Kevin having a snoop around Stefan's office. What's going on there then? Is this another deep fake? Says Tyrone. Yeah, it definitely is. Gotta be a deep fake.
Yeah, don't tell the police though.
If you look for what's popular in the world of deep fakes, number 1, porn, obviously. Yeah. Number 2, people snooping around offices in the dark. There's a real kind of fetish for those.
Stage crimes. Like, if you're going to stage me doing a crime, like, have me rob a bank or something, cool. Or chop someone's head off with an axe.
Yeah.
Not like go through someone's office. I do that all the time.
Rummaging in someone's drawers.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Kevin sort of takes the opportunity to make, and Tyrone throughout the rest of the episode thinks that this is deep fake office rummagings, doesn't he? The simple boy. But
he wouldn't hide for his brains, his looks.
He was not. So that's all going on there. Back at number 8, Max is still calling his mate and saying, "Look, can you help me get into this phone? It's a bit dodgy, but can you do it?" And then we get a great camera pan across the kitchen and Bethany's just standing there like something out of a horror movie. She's like, "Just give me the phone." She's a bit of a killjoy, is Bethany, isn't she?
Oh, she says this twice. She's like, "I'll have you know that phone hacking is illegal." And then she marches over to Kevin and she says, "I'll have you know that phone hacking is illegal." Like she just literally found that out and she's showing off her new knowledge to everybody. Yeah, I was supposed to be doing a story and I hacked someone's phone. Apparently, it's illegal. So
doesn't Max kind of say, "Well, your lot are all like this. They're hacking phones all the time," and she's like, "No, we're not." Well, not all the time.
No.
So
not allowed to do that anymore.
She goes over and tells Kevin about what's going on and says, "Right, you take this phone. What have you done with it? Why is he trying to get into this?"
The thing that gets me also is this phone. I know it shouldn't make a difference, but it's got this like leather case on it.
Where are you going with this?
But you know what I mean? What is this? A burner phone?
Yeah.
So what? So Stefan's been like, "Well, I need an executive cover for my burner phone. I need to look professional and cool. I need to have a little flap on it so that it gives screen protector." Do you really care about your burner phone that you buy it a little leather case?
Gotta keep up the.
I need my little
Gotta keep up
executive-
appearances when you're a CEO of a publishing company.
I need a leather case for it. No, you don't. It's a burner phone.
Well, anyway, what's supposed to be on this phone? Is it
That's
the videos?
exactly my point.
Has he got a deep fake app?
Kevin's bluffed his way here because Kevin's whole thing is that you obviously want this phone. You give your game away that there's something on this phone that you don't want me to find out about. So using that knowledge,
He's probably just got a really embarrassing playlist in music, isn't he?
Exactly, it could be anything.
Bubblegum classics.
It could be literally anything. But Kevin thinks he's got this. It's just such a silly storyline.
The rest of the episode is really just them building up their evidence against each other, isn't it?
I know, but the thing is, right, if Stefan really is this nefarious, and we have no reason to believe he isn't, because also I don't know why he's not in prison, because didn't he help kidnap his kid? He was trying to escape him.
No, he wasn't. Yeah, he was helping him to
exactly.
try and
evade the law.
Yeah, that's it.
So surely there's some crime that he committed there, but somehow he's
I don't know
fine.
whether you've forgotten this, Gemma, but the Brents can afford very good lawyers.
Exactly. So this guy's so nefarious. He's been involved in trying to bust his kid out of, escape to Europe, wasn't he, with his murderous child. And now he's been making deepfake AI videos and trying to get revenge on people and making documentaries, right? So there's there's no level to which he will not stoop. Why didn't he just go, yeah, fine, and then send a bloke in to break into Kevin's house and nick it? You know, Kevin's probably stuck it on the kitchen table.
Yeah.
This is, Abby, don't touch this, is my special phone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
I'd just go, yeah, fine, keep it, Kev, no worries. And then I'd send someone around to beat him up and get it off him. What's the problem?
You'd make a really good bad boss. You'd make a good mafia don.
I'd be an excellent boss, but I'd be a very evil criminal.
So Kevin's got this phone. He says, I'm gonna use it against you in court, and Stefan's like, no, you'd never beat me in court. What are you like? Meanwhile, back at number 13, Craig says, this doesn't make sense.
This is silly.
Why would somebody send a deep fake video of Kevin raiding an office somewhere, and the email didn't even have demands anyway? Well, what do they want? And Kevin coming back at this point says, I don't want to report any crimes. It's all sorted. Off on your merry way, Craig. Off you go. Abby's suspicious of Kevin's motives there. Why doesn't he want to tell the police? And this is what they have their fallout about at the end of the episode at night time with
Happy with her hair down.
Happy with her hair down. Yeah. So there's drama going on between those two. But
Kevin admits to Tyrone what's happened here.
Yeah. So Tyrone's in on the secret, and he starts saying that I can't believe you're getting involved into this. Think about Abby. This could make things much, much worse for you. So Kevin goes back to Stefan's with another new deal and says, right, let's try this again. So I'm going to keep the phone.
It's so convoluted.
You take the videos offline. You get them. You pay £5,000 a month.
Yeah, no problem.
To pay for the videos to be taken offline. And then if you keep the CCTV footage of me.
This is stupid.
Neither of us will go to jail. So
right.
Checkmate.
So, yeah.
Stalemate.
And Stefan's like, brilliant. Yeah, I'll pay the reputation manager. You keep the video. You keep the phone. I'll keep the video. Makes sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
That was it, really, for that, wasn't it?
When Abby's like, why don't you tell me what you're hiding?
Yeah, we said that one already.
It's supposed to be a team. Yeah. I'm going to bed. I've left your tea in a pot.
I don't know. Just Kevin going on the crusade. It didn't do it for me.
Kevin's turning into this cool-headed negotiator. He's able to kind of play mental chess with Stefan, who's supposedly this high-level executive, was silly. There's nothing in Kevin's life that's prepared him to go head-to-head with a tough negotiator, supposedly, businessman like Stefan.
He's just wise. He's old and wise. That's all there is to it. I thought it was quite cool seeing Stefan again. Yet another villain being brought back. Villain-ish. Is he going to be
It just really feels so convoluted. My evil genius plan as Stefan is to get a documentary made about my son to make him look like a good footballer, but I was thwarted by evil Abby. Also, right, here's a stupid point that I never thought of. If Stefan is on the board of the company that makes the documentaries, why doesn't he just say, no, we're gonna put the documentary on telly?
Well, maybe there are other board members that are saying no, and they're a democratic.
What's the point of
evil
being a
television company?
bit democratic? It's stupid though. He's apparently got all this power, but just not quite enough to have pulled off his plan that he wanted to do all along, which is to make Corey look good
On a TV channel, on a
TV
screen,
that
streaming
nobody
that nobody watches. Yeah, he's not exactly getting out the big guns, is he?
And again, like I said before, when Abby went to the press and said, this documentary's coming out about the murderer of my son, I don't want anyone to watch it, that was the best advert anyone could have ever gotten. And there's no way on earth that a documentary, or a TV channel or a documentary producer, because obviously those are two different things, would have gone, oh yeah, we won't show it then.
Mm-hmm.
They would have gone, brilliant, we can sell our
publicity.
advertising with twice as much as we could have done before now, you idiot, thank you very much.
You can get 50p for this episode. Yeah.
Connie and Trevor are all over it now.
Did anybody
do
enjoy
anything
this
for
story? Is it
money.
just us? I just don't know what it is.
It was
I'm not
fine. It just
feeling
didn't. It like if you scrutinise any of it, it makes no sense. It falls apart immediately, in my opinion. It just it's overly complicated and doesn't reflect at all what human beings are like. And also, again, stitches Bethany right up.
It almost feels to me like, oh, we've not had a Abby and Kevin storyline for a while. We'd better give them one then.
But we
What
better
should
make
we
sure
do?
that everyone knows that Alfie's at nursery.
Right, the Ken story I kind of enjoyed this week because it didn't feel like there was supposed to be as many mega cliffhangers. I was just able to enjoy it for what it was.
It was fairly straightforward and it made sense, which is as much as you can ask for apparently at the moment. So on Tuesday, Ken's back at number 1 and he's got this walker but he doesn't want to use it. He's getting really cranky with Amy and Steve. He wants to go back to... He wants Amy to give him his bedroom, which is full of pictures of Ryan Duckling. And
people love that. I didn't really enjoy that joke because he would have seen Ryan Gosling written down. So
I don't think people have posters with the people's names on it anymore.
Is
I
that
think
a bit 90s, pulling them out in the middle
Heat
of Smash Hits
magazine.
magazine?
Yeah, he's just mad. He's frustrated because he doesn't want help, really. And Amy and Daniel are talking about Ken's care rota and he overhears it. And he feels like a burden and he's like, don't disrupt your life, I'd rather have a professional carer. So Steve, Amy and Daniel are looking over how much this costs. And Amy's like, oh, I got savings, which turns out to be Deirdre's money. And Steve's like, no way. And Cassie overhears them talking and she tells them she'll do it and she'll be cheaper than the rest of them.
Because she's not a professional carer.
She's not going to charge
Which is
you
a key plot point for Wednesday.
VAT or anything. So Steve's like, trial period. So on Wednesday, Steve's given Cassie a bunch of jobs to do. And Ken's like, oh, I can't believe how lucky we are that Cassie works for an agency and she's here to help. And Steve's just patronising him. And then Cassie immediately puts her foot in it by opening the drawer up with Deirdre's glasses in it and putting them on and making fun of them. And he's like, oh, I can't believe that your training has let you down here. You're not supposed to make fun of people's
That was
property.
a nice moment. Corey doesn't need to do much to just get the viewers to go, oh, remember that.
Yeah.
You can't bring out Deirdre's specs all the time and expect it to hit the same levels. But, once every 10 years, get them out.
Yeah.
Pluck on our heartstrings and whatever you. Yeah, it was a good little scene, that.
She says, well, I'm not a professional. I didn't get training. I'm just helping out for cheap, innit? So she gets sacked. She tells Steve she's got sacked and says, oh, go on, 30 quid, please. And she climbs on his taxi bonnet until he pays her. And when Steve comes home, Ken's like, right, why don't we just go to the Rovers and get a new carer from there? And Steve says, look, we can't afford somebody from an agency. And Ken says, oh, I'll use my own money. I don't need you to make decisions for me. I'll do it myself. So Steve and Amy start talking about rotas again. And then Cassie comes round and she says she's left her purse. And she helps Ken because he's struggling. And he says, sorry for being rude earlier. And he realises that she might be a good helper after all. Later on, Cassie's like, oh, I used to care for my ex, and she explains that this is helping her get self-respect and feel good about herself, and if she can help him out, it's all, it's all good, isn't it? So
it was just a really nice character scene. It was a proper kind of heartwarming two characters who've not really had anything to do with each other bond over needing caring. How do you think that Cassie's coming across from this, because I think that unless they decide to take her, give her a total change in direction, this could be a bit of a redemption story for her. What do you think?
Yeah, she's an interesting character, because I've, kind of been on her side in the past and said that I like her and I find her interesting, even when she isn't likeable, because, she kind of goes through different periods. But I've seen people sort of criticising and saying that she's...
Yeah, there's a lot of criticism for Cassie out there, and you're right. We both started off very much pro Cassie, and I think that giant scene with her and Evelyn in the hospital last summer went a long way towards us really enjoying her and respecting the actress. But it's been more and more difficult of late to be in Team Cassie, because she has
she's
just
sniffing
been
around Kevin.
It's partly that she just kind of seems to me to have this little weaselly look in her eye, like she's up to no good, or she's looking for the next place
scheming.
to make a quick buck. Yes, scheming. Yeah. And although she this is a way of getting money, there doesn't seem anything. There's no undertone of menace. She's not actually going to try and take Ken to the cleaners.
No,
it feels like
moment.
She's genuinely doing it
to find purpose.
Yeah, and if she can wind Steve up along the way, then all the better for it.
Yeah. They find Amy and Steve find Cassie and Ken enjoying a game of cards, and Ken says that he's going to keep her on as a carer and he's going to pay her. I was just looking up about, it just made me remember about Deirdre's glasses, that it was Anne Kirkbride's birthday. So 70, she would have been 70 today.
Oh, really?
So I wonder whether that was a little tribute to
her. Maybe.
She and Maggie Jones, who played Blanche, were born on the same day.
Well, where was the tribute to Blanche, eh?
Exactly. Well, on Friday, Evelyn is cynical about whether Cassie can do this, and Cassie's like, I can do it. And I really like Evelyn as being like really negative all the time, but that she's actually talking sense.
Yeah.
Because if you were Evelyn, you would be like, Cassie, I'm not sure this is a good idea.
I really do hope that she proves herself. Well, she is proving herself, but she is.
Yeah, until something else happens.
It doesn't need to go wrong. This could just be a lovely story.
Believe me, I know.
Getting Cassie involved. Claire Sweeney, you got a big actress, get her involved with the big guns at number 1 Coronation Street.
Well, is there romance ahead for Steve?
Maybe it's romance between Cassie and Ken.
I did think it was going there. Well,
but yeah, you're right. This really is about those two, isn't it, Cassie and Steve? Because Friday's episode is pretty much him just getting wound up about her continued presence, and it does seem a lot to be about her rebuffing him at the speed dating night. But I'm kind of guessing that they will get a bit closer, and maybe when Tracy decides to show her face
just
again,
have been deciding to have a kiss.
Yeah, or maybe they'll have gone full on Toyah and Nick about it. I don't know.
Maybe Cassie will be wearing Ken's kimono.
Maybe no, it's not there anyway. I ain't got
sad.
it. I mean, Tracy's did we say this on the podcast last week? Pretty bad daughter for not coming straight back home to Weatherfield when her dad is. What did he do? He fell over.
He's fallen down the stairs before.
He needs full-time care.
No,
Amy, Daniel, Steve are really struggling to put this rota together, and Tracy's. I guess it's. Is it in her character? If it had been anyone else.
No, I think that's right. I think she would be like, "Oh, you guys got it. Don't worry.
I'm
okay. I don't need to come back."
Is she still in the full flush of new love with Tommy Orpington that she can't just pop back to Weatherfield to visit? Come on, get off your jet ski, love. Your dad needs help.
Not my real dad, so.
So, well, maybe I've got no idea when she's coming back, so maybe it's going to be hotting up between Steve and Cassie soon, and she'll be winging her way back to Weatherfield in the next week or two.
I came as soon as I found out.
Yeah.
Right, so Steve's still looking into...
Maybe they sent a message to her using the same post office that we did with our Patreon gift.
Turn up £1.50, please. Steve's still looking into alternative carers. And Ken's like, don't worry about it. Cassie's fine. And when Cassie turns up, she and Steve looking daggers at each other, and Steve's trying to drop her in it by going, "Oh, you need to cut Ken's toenails." But Ken's like,
"I'd do it. It'd be an honour."
Yeah, it would
Ken
be.
Barlow?
Ken
How much
Barlow's-
could you get for Ken Barlow's toenails on eBay?
Michael, how creepy is that? I'll cut your nails if I can keep the clippings. Okay, that's not weird.
There are some big Corrie collectors out there that would pay good
I wonder,
money.
does anyone collect Corrie toenails? Let us know. Because I might have some for you if you're interested.
What?
Well, I might be able to procure some.
I suppose some of those ancient Jesus relics might not have been completely legit.
That's true, that's
You could
true.
say, yeah, this is William Roach's toenail. Of course it is. £10, please.
Michael, you've just blown the lid off my whole gig. Right, so Ken's like, let's go to lunch, let's do a crossword. And when Steve comes home, they've had a lovely time at the bistro and Cassie's rubbing it in. And also, Amy realises that Steve's got, is getting obsessed with this, with Cassie. And he's like saying, oh, where's her perfume? I can smell her when she's here. She's not here because I can't smell her. Hang on. She's coming. And Amy's like, what the hell is going on, you weirdo? You must fancy her.
Do you think there's an element of...
That was a bit odd.
Maybe it's obvious and I'm just not
But
picking
funny,
up
I
on it.
guess.
Steve not wanting to admit that he fancies Cassie because he's still hoping that Tracy's going to come back and sweep him off his feet again. Is that anywhere there? Or does he
Well,
just...
it's
is he
probably
just
a bit.
like proper wound up by her?
It's probably all bits to it. He's probably also annoyed because he's the Lothario of the street and maybe he's realised that he's run out of mojo. Because honestly...
Ken's got more mojo than him at the moment, hasn't he?
I think Cassie's the first time we've seen him rebuffed in years because Tracy pursued him, didn't she? And then he went with her.
Yeah.
And then when he's cut adrift, he tries to chance his hand at the speed dating.
suppose-
And even Cassie rejected
Well,
him.
Demi rejected him fairly recently, didn't
that's
she?
true.
But they had a couple of dates there, and he was asking for it. I liked the Cassie's line when she was talking about
True.
looking after Ken, and she's like, I can't remember what the setup for it was, but she says, I thought for one moment he was a potted plant there, when she was talking about something to do with he needs more than feeding and watering or something. But yeah, there's just a nice, easy kind of social issues story, making you think about older members of the community needing care, bringing Cassie in. Steve is just about tolerable in it. I saw somebody online saying that ever since he's grown that beard of his, it's made him a tad more mature.
Do you think the longer it gets, the more wise he'll become?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe he's going to get a big pie may or whatever it is, flicky beard.
And then he'll be like, I know the secrets of the universe.
But I think that in today's episode, he is being pretty childish about it still.
Oh, wow. Steve McDonald.
Anyway, yeah, good story, that one. Unlike the Winter Brown story, which...
You don't like it?
Well, it feels like it's just another, there's the
It does
Winter Brown,
feel-
they haven't got any money, oh no, what are they going to do next, what are they going to, you know, they can't afford to get such and such, they can't afford to get a school uniform for Joseph, oh now they can't afford to get shoes for Karis, oh what are they going to eat tonight, what are they going to scrape off the bottom of the freezer and stick in a frying pan. It's a bit draining and it feels like that's all they've got for this family. Sorry, I thought you were going
Very
to...
out of touch, Michael.
What?
Well,
I know we're going through a cost of living crisis and everything, but surely they've got more to offer than this.
I quite like this. My problem with it wasn't that, but it was more like, who's going to wave the fairy wand to buy the house. I'm not worried about who's going to swoop in and save the day.
I think a lot of people were probably caught off guard this week by the fact that they don't own the house, they're renting it, they've got a landlord. It's even me, it's not really something that I considered. I just kind of assumed because everybody else owns their house on Coronation Street.
I knew they didn't own their house.
I never even considered it.
I thought it was a council house.
I think the story of it's number 5, isn't it? Is that it was owned up until the Battersbys came in, then it was a council house for a bit, and then it was sold to a private landlord, 10 or so years ago. But I don't think that particular sale was made clear on the show, which is why people were
I
still...
just thought it was council.
No,
I genuinely did not... I didn't expect them to own this place. I'm sure they've talked about rent.
It totally makes sense that they don't own it.
I know, but you sound out of touch.
I'm totally out of touch. I mean, I've never rented anywhere. And I know it's very privileged of me, but you know, everyone else on Coronation Street feels like they own their own abode, especially, you know, on the terraces. So yeah, I'm just being out of touch there. But it was nice to see the landlord. Did he get a name? I don't know. You can't beat Mr. Wormold. Anyway, there's no hot water at number 5. That's how their money problems are manifesting this week, exactly. And was it Tuesday that we get the shot of Chesney with a towel wrapped round him down the bottom of the stairs? We didn't need that over our dinner on Tuesday evening, but yeah. So they're going around Dev's to use the shower there.
You're jumping ahead here.
What?
Because they don't. You know, the landlord needs to sort the boiler out, right? So they're beholden to him, and the landlord says, "Oh, there's nothing really wrong with it." So Bernie's like, no, you need to sort this out. You're a thieving beggar. You take their money, but you don't help anything. And the landlord
kind of threatens.
does not like that.
Yeah, he threatens to do what he ended up doing on Friday.
Yeah.
Wednesdays, again, sweet stuff. I really enjoyed Wednesday's episode. It all culminated in the family having a lovely cinema night, didn't it? Which is just nice and cosy. But there was more of a mystery on Wednesday with Joseph, who seems to be very flush with cash. He wants to take Chesney to the cinema for a late Father's Day gift.
But they don't want him spending his money on the tickets.
Yeah, and he's got this pocket full of 20s later, and he hands them to Ches to buy a new electric shower, because then they don't have to get a new boiler or something like that. And Chesney's kind of a bit embarrassed to take this money from his kid, but promises to give it back. Yeah, where is he getting? Is he just getting it from
Granny Linda?
From Granny Linda, do you think, or is he selling drugs on the sly?
Yeah, probably.
Knowing Coronation Street, that's what it is. Yeah, maybe he's
not that Alan Sugar's drug dealer. Oh my God, I meant he was an entrepreneur.
Sugar.
No,
that's what it is.
No, I didn't mean to link that at all. He's selling car aerials, obviously.
Anyway, yeah. So that was quite lovely on Wednesday. Good old Joseph. He's really. I'm growing to like him more and more. Friday's episode is I got the new shower. Dee Dee sticks her neb in when Gemma's moaning about the landlord and says, "You need to report this landlord to the council so that they can sort him out."
Dee Dee spends her whole life giving really good free advice to people who then turn around and blame her for everything that goes wrong following that.
Yeah,
this woman is like the most put upon of any character ever. I would just tell everyone to do one if I was her. I'd never help anyone ever again.
So the landlord comes around to see Gemma later, and she's got somebody there to fix the boiler, and he's pretty narked by this rude email that Gemma, since the meeting with Dee Dee, has apparently sent off to him, and he drops the bombshell that he's going to be selling up, and they've got 2 months to vacate the premises. So I suppose I was wondering where this story was going at the beginning and thinking, oh, is this just another story about them being poor? But it feels like it's stop the eviction happening, or, you know, there are only a few options. I mean, it could just be bought by another landlord who we never see, but I've never really I don't like the idea. Maybe because I was saying earlier about not realising that Gemma and Chesney rented. Maybe it was just because I prefer the idea of actual proper characters owning the houses and not some rando like we got here. So I quite like the idea of, you said that maybe Dev's going to buy it.
I think for realism's sake, there should be at least one person on the bloody street that doesn't own their house. Yeah, most of them rent, though. We've had this before. Not everybody owns their own place on Corrie.
Maybe I just don't think about it too much.
No, well,
Clearly.
You maybe should.
Well, Gemma's mad at Dee Dee for giving her that bad advice. And the storyline then kind of goes on to Joseph maybe being a bit ashamed of Chesney, but not. Because he gets dropped off home by one of the Oak Hill mums in his car later, and the mum's like, Chesney, I'm going to have to come and meet with you and Gemma later, and you can tell me all about this catering enterprise that you've set up. And Chesney's like, what's going on there? And
the thing is, if Chesney hadn't bottled it, he would have his own catering empire. He wanted to make a Chesburger.
Yeah.
He did have dreams of entrepreneurship when he was younger. He had his own market stand. We were saying
kids came along and ruined it.
Yeah, well, he was saying that he should have been
pet shop owner.
He's had so many opportunities, and he's shown himself to be astute at a business.
Yeah, You couldn't believe it now, but back in the day, he really was. I quite enjoyed this scene where he was kind of breaking down to Joseph and saying, "Oh, I'm such a loser, it's no wonder that you're ashamed of me." And even the bit where he says, when you got to Oak Hill, I was worried that it would change you, but now I want it to change you. I don't want you to grow up and be like me. I quite like that.
I didn't like... Well...
What didn't you like about it?
Because... Not to this extent, but my experience as a child was that sometimes I would worry about money and how things were going to get paid for, because we didn't have money at all when I was little, like really, really bad situations. And I remember being terrified, or like if my grandparents bought me anything, I'd always feel really guilty and bad. And so this kind of made me remember how bad it feels to be a child and be powerless, but also terrified. And Chesney putting all of that on Joseph, I thought was really out of order. I couldn't believe it when he was doing it. I know this, it was all, it's all for the drama and stuff. But really, what a terrible father to be putting this on Joseph's shoulders and giving him all this pressure and kind of bemoaning his like status and...
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it would have been better for Gemma. I like the idea behind
not
it.
Either of them.
But
I think...
it was a lot for him to put up with, I suppose.
But from the perspective of, I think there are still, sadly, there are still loads of kids exactly the same situation. It doesn't make any sense that there's a child who goes to private school who's worried about what they're going to eat for dinner. That doesn't make any sense. But there are loads of kids that are scared about what's going to happen and are they going to get kicked out of their house. So from that perspective, but again, it's like Corrie doesn't know how to do this story properly, which really frustrates me because... It's a story. It's supposed to be about working class people, and I know that quite a lot of the people on it know this experience, but somehow they can't make it work on the screen because they have to complicate everything with all these stupid extraneous nonsense.
Just waiting for the affair to start on this story. To be honest,
who's Joseph going to have an affair with? But you know what I mean, like a story about a family who's going to get evicted. And all the troubles that come with it and all the expenses that are incurred when that happens and how you can get shafted as a renter by somebody who's being vindictive or taking advantage of you. That's all stuff that I really feel that Corrie should tackle. And talk about issues, storylines, talk about things that are timely and important. That's arguably one of the most important stories of all. But they can't really do it justice because they've added all these weird complications in there. Like the fact that Linda is perfectly happy to send Joseph to private school, but really there's lots of other things that would benefit him. Like, really, do you want this kid to go to private school, or do you want him and lie awake at night worrying about being evicted? No, it doesn't make any sense. What on earth were you doing?
So Linda's been quite noticeable by her absence this week. Is she still supposed to be around? Is she going to swoop in and save the day? Is she? Maybe she'll buy the house. Maybe it'll be her. Maybe she'll buy it as a gift.
Linda?
Yeah.
That's what I said earlier.
Did you? Did
Yeah,
you say
I
that?
said
Sorry,
Linda
I was
or Dev.
zoning out. Yeah. Place your bets now, I suppose.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. This is the trouble about it. This is where Corrie... Oh, my God, it really frustrates me. It's like...
We've been watching it too long to know things will turn out all right.
Things will turn out all right. But, like, Sean, I'm homeless. Okay, that's sad, but you're not now, are you? No, I'm not. I'm fine because I have a really great social support system, which is not why people end up homeless.
I think that's
we're
the
going to
other
get
problem.
evicted by our evil landlord and we don't have any money to afford to move and we won't be able to find anywhere to rent for the same amount. That's the problem. Loads of people, they get kicked out and then they can't find that they're going to be uprooted, they're not going to be by their friends and family, the support network that they've got there with everybody looking after them and helping them out, that's all going to go. He's not going to... All the stuff that he was saying... That's all stuff that really happens. But no, it's not going to happen on Coronation Street.
Not going to happen to Chesney and Coronation and Gemma,
because they live a charmed existence. I don't really know what to say about it. I sometimes wish they wouldn't... They're not going to do it justice. Don't do it because it's not like an unusual situation.
Maybe they'll surprise us.
There are literally millions of people living in poverty in this country.
That's maybe another story, another reason why the Kev story isn't necessarily hitting for me, because I know that it'll be okay in the end. I'm not expecting Kevin to be sent down forever for this, for raiding Stefan's office. It's going to be all right.
There definitely needs to be a balance between, like, soap justice and realistic peril.
Yeah.
Because you can't have tension in a show where nothing bad happens.
They need to have more surprises and twists and catching us off guard.
But they need to take some of these issues, storylines, more seriously. It's almost like if they treated Paul's M&D storyline the way they're going to treat, the way they treated Gemma and Chesney's story from the beginning, the way they treated Sean being homeless, the way they treat these very serious storylines that actually affect people. If they treated Paul's M&D storyline in the same way, they'd magically find a cure for M&D tomorrow. Dr. Gauss would be like, oh yes, just give you an injection and you'll be fine. I don't know why we were worried about it, to be honest with you. I should have given this to you last week, really. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
there shouldn't be a magic fairy wand for some things and not others, especially when some things are actually quite...
Yeah, I mean, for people in Gemma and Chesney's situation, it's probably hits quite close to home, this story. It's pretty serious. But anyway, that's we kind of got to the crux of what happens to the rest of the story, haven't we? Joseph is being very sweet and saying, oh, Dad, I'm not ashamed of you. Because Bernie, he's had a chat with Bernie and he says, look, I'm not ashamed of Chesney at all. I'm not ashamed of my dad. Also, I'm not the one who lied to my mate's mum about him being the head of a fast food empire. She put two and two together about that because that's just what she's like.
It felt like they were barking up the wrong tree here, to be honest. Like, being ashamed of your parent, I don't know. I just felt like there was more obvious, I'm worried about money and I shouldn't be because I'm a child story.
That's basically it. The weekends with Gemma getting a confirmation email from Dee Dee saying, no, they have got no tenants' rights here. So
well, there's no rights. They haven't got any rights to not be evicted.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, exactly.
They've got 2 months to get out. And also, Chesney has a problem on his hands because Joseph's hilarious rich friend has got...
Oh yeah, he's coming around for tea next week, isn't he? Yeah. Okay,
which apparently includes sweet corn and rice.
Yeah.
Just give him a potato with cheese on it.
Yeah, well, that's probably the standard food at Chesney's anyway, isn't it?
I know.
How many seeds do they actually eat there?
Yeah, I know. Literally, the meal that he prepared for Joseph that very day would have been fine.
Fish and chips, it would have done
Just
fine.
say it's cod goujons and French fries.
Right, there was a little bit of Joel and Dee Dee on Friday, wasn't there? Just to start to warm this story up until it comes back, presumably next week.
So
there was some...
Mummy and Daddy Deering do not know that Joel and Dee Dee are engaged because that happened after the disastrous dinner party that they had. So Dee Dee's still happy that she's engaged, but she's not happy that he's not told his parents.
Yeah, she has to keep it a bit
and she doesn't want to keep it a secret. And he's like, oh, I'm going to go see Maeve later. My daughter, remember my daughter.
She
my
doesn't
real
exist.
daughter.
I'm glad that he said that because from the episode... although I was kind of fairly down on Friday's episode, him saying, I'm going to go and see Maeve later, did keep me on the edge of my seat throughout the rest of the episode, saying, who's he going to go and see?
Is Maeve just code for Lauren, who is in a basement? Probably. So Dee Dee tells Ed about it and it's like, oh, I wish there was something I could do about it. And Ed gives more disastrous advice. Last time he gave her advice, it went wrong, and he's doing it again. I don't know why she listens to him.
Yeah, so he's saying, oh yeah, it's fine. Go behind your fiancé's back and arrange to meet his parents. What could possibly go wrong
Invite
here?
them to an engagement party.
Come on.
Just do it that way. And she's like, oh, great idea, Dad.
So she does. And we get that at the end of the episode, don't we? We get her.
She's on the phone going, oh, what's it? She's like, the mum's like, oh, call me whatever, Mrs. Bonbon or whatever. And she's like, okay, yeah, see you tomorrow. And then puts the phone down. And Joel comes in. He's like, oh, what are you? And
no, she says to him,
like, oh, how was Maeve? He's like, what? Who? What? Who? What? Who? Oh, Maeve, my daughter. She was great.
Yeah, so it seems that maybe he wasn't seeing her.
What's his long-term plan if Maeve doesn't exist? What's his long-term plan here? Because he wants to marry this woman.
He's flying by the seat of his pants here.
What's the plan? Is he going to be like, oh,
well, where was Joel, Gemma? Who was he actually seeing very briefly?
In a basement.
No, Sabrina.
Well,
that's the only thing that we know.
Ahead.
Yeah,
Joel is outside the police station. I don't know why he's there.
He works there, doesn't he?
I know, but he said you said he was seeing Sabrina, and that's why he said he was seeing Maeve. He wasn't. He was at the police station.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
So he's there, and Sabrina's there, and he's like, "Oh, I see. You're a lone woman who's young and in need of help. What's wrong?" And she says, "Oh,
there's probably Rowan's just hide around the corner going, curses, you got there first. I was just about to recruit
grab this crystal." Gav's been arrested. Or she says her brother's been arrested. What's he done now?
Nothing. What is going on with these siblings? Like, we haven't seen Gav since I think we haven't seen him since the episode he was up his ladder.
Oh, I thought he was vaping last time we saw him in a alleyway with Max.
Oh, was it? No, I'm not sure. But these two, they're not twins, are they? They're just
siblings.
What's going on?
Want more of them? He's been arrested. Polly's stalking that bird again. Remember? And he says, Joel says, "I can help you," and she says, "Look, we can't afford to pay you, so forget it." And he says, "Look, anyway, I'll write down my number on a business card," and gives it to her. And she goes into the police station, and I noticed that the girl that she was with, her friend, who is this girl? Is it her friend or is it Gav's girlfriend? Was a very nice young blonde girl, exactly the sort that he likes.
That Joel goes for, and Nathan.
So Joel was like,
Joel doesn't. They didn't know each other from before, did they? Because he introduces himself to her.
Who?
So
what are you talking
Joel
about?
and Sabrina.
No.
So he's kind of unwittingly getting involved in somebody who was one of Lauren's friends.
Yeah.
That's why it's Sabrina, I suppose. He's going to maybe reveal something, or he's going to take her back, or are we on the cusp of finally finding out? And I know we have technically found out what happened to Lauren, but we haven't, have we? Is Sabrina going to be key in covering the truth? I suppose.
She was worried about
if he invites. Yeah, if he invites her round to his house, then yeah, she might spot some clues or something.
Sabrina's a bit, because I mean Joel was quite heavily involved in trying to find her, but then they will not let Sabrina be in it. So how would she know? Yeah,
odd to bring her back, but still nice. There was also I've written down the bottom here that we get to enjoy a little bit more flirting between Amy and Ardy at the bistro on was it Wednesday's episode, which was nice.
Well, there you go.
Need to pick up the pace on that one.
If you're going to get anybody to be a recruit for your cult, Ardy's your man.
So then we get.
Do you not think? I'm sorry, that's brilliant. You just brushed over that like it was nothing.
Brilliant
Ardy
idea.
is the absolute dream cult member. Look how easy he was to win over if you're Courtney last summer. He'd do anything.
Yeah, he's a simple
if Willow told him
to
do anything, he'd do it. He'd be great.
Right, what are we rating this week's Coronation Street?
Well, they're highs and lows, weren't they, Michael?
Yeah, there was a lot that I just didn't quite hit for me. The Abby storyline, as much as, I love Abby,
I know
this story's been going a good few weeks now, and it hasn't felt like it's reached the pace where I'm saying, yeah, you know what, I'm properly invested in this now.
Unfortunately, this week was lots of really weak stories for characters I like a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so down on Toyah after going to bed with Nick this week. Abby, it was more the Abby story was more Kevin as the protagonist, wasn't it? Abby was just kind of watching from the side, saying, "What are you up to?" The Paul stuff was quite good, but there was a lot of Winter Brown. I think I'm probably gonna give this to. I'm gonna give this 3 of Ken's clipped toenails out of 5
How much
on
you get
eBay. For that? Character of the week. It's I don't know. It's a tricky one. I'm going to say Cassie this week as my character of the week, because from what I'm seeing so far, she has turned a corner in a really positive way. So I enjoyed her.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this week's 2.5 copies of Seriously magazine out of 5, and my character of the week is going to be, I had it in my head. Who did I have in my head? Damn it.
I don't know, just what you think.
Rowan.
Rowan's always good. You know, he's an easy go-to for me.
lurker.
I was just thinking, one of the things that I was considering voting it out of was veggie sausage rolls, which is apparently Kevin's secret treat.
Favourite lunchtime snack.
Why?
I don't know. Did I mishear
Would
it?
Kevin ever eat a veggie sausage roll?
Kevin-
Did he accidentally pick up Toyah's one day and just get hooked?
Honestly, Kevin seems like the sort of man who has such a fragile ego that if he ever tried a veggie sausage roll and liked it, he'd have to throw himself in the canal.
I know. Bizarre. Okay, well, so a so-so week on Coronation Street. After a few better ones, I'm quite interested to see, you know, we've only got 2 episodes next week, how much the
Monday and
Joels...
Friday.
Is it Monday, Friday?
I thought that's what it
I
was.
thought it was Monday, Wednesday. I can't remember. Just look it up, everybody. The fact that the Joel story was starting to warm up in today's gives me hope that we're going to be getting an awful lot of alleyway lurking from him next week, and maybe even a bit more Sabrina again. But yeah, there we go. So that is this week's Street Talk all done.